All right, how's everybody doing? This is New Era Gardener, and it's exciting time because it's ready to start making seedling mix. So I got some ingredients here. I got some rock dust. That's about a third of a cup of rock dust. I have some vermiculite. Always good to add that in. A little bit of dolomite, lime, and also some, I never could pronounce it correct, but we're going to add that in also. But in this bucket here, I got some homemade compost. I sifted it down to eighth of an inch. So I got the fine stuff because what I'm making today is going to be the seedling mix. Also here, some worm castings. And these are some worm castings that I've had for a while. It was made with, this was probably about the last of what I have for the worm castings that I used coconut core. So it's a little bit of the coconut core ones and the regular. So, and then I have some homemade biochar. And this is unactive. It's not activated. This is just pure this is just pure biochar. Okay, hasn't been activated. And this is the powder and the small flakes. So we're going to add some of that in there also. And then the main ingredient is sphagnum peat moss. So we got a little of that, not too much. I don't want it all sphagnum peat moss. I mean, if you make your own, it's just like if you buy it in the store and it has the biggest ingredient is peat moss. That's what they call a soilless mixed. Even if you're using coconut core, some people might be using coconut core, but I'm using sphagnum peat moss, okay? So it holds a lot of moisture. This is some that I had already pre-moistened, had it in a bag, so when the time came to be used, it's already moist. So that's what we got here, sphagnum peat moss. All right, so I mean, for pennies, you can make your own. If you get a big bale of peat moss runs you maybe anywhere from $12 to $15, depending where you live. Worm castings, if you make your own worm castings, then you have that. And compost, if you make your own compost, that's your compost. Or you can take bag compost. I would sift it out because you're making your seedling mix. This is for like my seedlings that I'm going to start. And that's what you want. Now my sphagnum peat moss, all of it, I sift it. I get all those big twigs and things out of it. So it's just the fluffiness, okay? I don't leave the twigs and sticks in there. And then I use the twigs and sticks and the other bigger pieces. Actually, I use them for when I have bulbs that I dig up. I put them in a box and I put that inside. So that's what I use. Nothing goes to waste. All right, so let's get started. So this is my way of doing it. This is how I do it each and every time. So you can do it. You can change it. You can add. You can subtract, whatever you like. So in here, as I already said, I have my sphagnum peat moss. So it doesn't really matter what order you go. This is the worm castings. I want to make enough to do my seedlings. I'm not going to be doing a ton of seedlings this year, as I usually do. There's only going to be different ones that I do this year. So in between, I just want to mix each ingredient in. And we know there is a little bit of NPK in my worm castings because I add other nutrients into my castings when I do my bedding and I do my worms. So that's sphagnum, peat moss, and worm castings mixed up. So that's good. And the next ingredient I'm going to add to that is my compost. That's the compost. Just going to mix that in real good. And when you're doing your seedling mix, you always want to add a little bit of compost in there. This way you get the microbes in there, the biology with the worm castings and everything else. So that's what you want to do. So I just mix them up real good, get everything incorporated real well. We're still nice and fluffy, good moisture. All right, so now when it comes to adding rock dust, we all know rock dust has a lot of minerals in it and things like that that are good for roots and things like that. I'm only going to put in 3/4 of a cup, mix it in real good. It'll be available, some of the elements of rock dust will be available to the roots. Seeing this is going to be a seedling mix. So I didn't want to put too much in because, like I said, with my castings, I don't add rock dust to my castings. So I shouldn't say that. So, but I had beautiful seedlings last year from making the same recipe, and I was very happy with my seedlings, especially since I also grow hot peppers, and some of the hot peppers, they just take so long to get big. So now I have a little bit of lime. I'm going to say it's probably about 2 teaspoons of lime. Just a little bit of lime. Just as a pH buffer, just to help out. Yeah, that looks good. Feels good. Oh yeah. So that's pretty much it. for the lime. I probably have a little more here than I need. Now we're going to add in the homemade biochar. I mean, as you can see, it's powder, it's flakes. I'm going to stir this up, and then I'll make a decision whether you need more. The biochar will also hold moisture. It'll also hold any of the nutrients. So there's no need to go crazy with it. I can see it throughout. That's a good amount. I see it throughout every area that I'm picking it up from. Down here I can see the biochar mixed in there. I'm just going to add a little bit more. We're just going to put another scoop in. Maybe not a full one. And just remember, when you take and transplant these into your next pot, your seedlings into another pot, everything that you put into this is going to help with it growing to the next stage. So, of course, everything that we put in here is going to help it. I'm not going to put any type of fertilizer in here, but as my mind is thinking right now, I should add in a little bit of kelp. Kelp will help with the roots, to feed the roots and things like that. So that is a good thing to add in here. I don't have any, I didn't pull any out, but I will add some. So I'm going to add 1 scoop of kelp meal. And kelp meal is organic. So pretty much everything that we've actually, I'm going to put a little bit more. Everything that we've actually put in here is organic. And then at the same time, I'm going to, this is going to also help with rooting. It's, I never could think of the word now. I can't think of what it is, but it helps with the rooting. Yeah, so we're doing good. And like I said, I personally don't really add in a bunch of nutrients in the beginning, because as I go and the seedlings are starting to get a little big, you know, I will start to feed them a liquid. A liquid fertilizer. It might be fish emulsion. It could be my own little concoction that I make with a couple of different items. It'll be some alpaca tea, where I take some alpaca, put it in water and let it steep for a little bit, mix it around, and then feed them that, which will be full of all kind of microbes that's going to come out of the alpaca manure. So we're looking good there. We're looking good. So now, of course, for the star of the show, it's always going to be vermiculite or perlite. Now, I don't add both. I add one or the other. So this is going to make it nice and airy, keep it nice and loose. It's also going to expand a little bit because of the water, its water capabilities that it actually has. For me, that's a perfect amount. I can see it all the way through. I don't want it to be all vermiculite. You can always take the vermiculite, and after you do your seedlings and they start to emerge, you can always add a top dressing of the vermiculite, and that'll work for two folds. That'll keep the moisture in, and it'll also help keep any type of fungi or anything else that you might start to get from the watering of the plants. So, but for me, I think that's enough mixed in there. That'll keep it nice and airy. It's looking good. I mean, and that's quick and easy. I think maybe take you 15 minutes to make. But that's just a couple of ingredients that you might already have. And once again, this is homemade seedling mix. And you can call it soilless, but I don't call it soilless because it's a 50-50 mix, let's say, because you have worm castings in there and you also have some compost. So this is peat moss, worm castings, also it's compost. It's also some lime, dolomite lime. It's also a little bit of rock dust. It's also some kelp. And then the star of the show that makes it all come together is the vermiculite. So that's a good mix. I'm going to start traying up my pepper seeds. And I don't know how much seeds I'm going to do this year. I'm probably going to do some seeds that I have that I particularly like myself that I may not be able to get at the garden shop. But I don't think I'm going to go crazy this year. But I'm going to just do peppers, some cabbage, some Brussels sprouts, also I'm going to do probably some okra. I'm going to do some okra. I'm going to probably do some kale. I have some kale seeds left. And then I have a new squash that's a hybrid that is I want to say a vertical. It grows vertical. And the nice thing about that is it doesn't spread. It grows up and does fruit. I did it last year. It worked out great. I love it. Good tasting. And then I'm going to do all type of cucumbers that I actually use to make pickles, pickle slices, pickle spears. And this year I have a couple of big jars, and I'm probably going to do some whole pickles So, and I make hot pickles. I make garlic pickles. And they usually don't last long. So, I bring them to work, give them to the guys at work. They like them. The hot ones last year, I made some using some of my ghost peppers. And let me tell you, I put probably about 3 slices of ghost peppers in there from some ghost peppers that I actually pickled. And let me tell you, when we tried to eat those suckers, you could only eat 1 pickle because those pickles were so hot. And I like hot food, so that's why I do a lot of hot peppers. But once again, this is New Era Gardener, and I appreciate everybody watching the video, and happy gardening. And let's get ready to start getting our seedlings going. But this is my New Era Gardener's seedling mix. So keep an eye out. I'm going to make a second video, and that second video is going to be about doing the transplants mix. That one's going to have a little bit more in it because that's what's going to take your seedlings out to the garden. So you want to really make sure that, at least me, for what I want to do, want to make sure that your seedling mix, your transplant mix, has a whole lot more to offer the plants. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. This is New Era Gardener. Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you. Thanks.